interesting today, the recreations that surround streetwear, whereas they used to be like basketball, surfing, skating, they now feel much more polished. It's like sailing, it's tennis, it's après ski. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're saying is it, because it's very much Noah.
Yeah, but Noah's not a streetwear brand.
It's not.
I know you say it is. I've heard you.
Rejecting that label is just wild, especially when you come from Supreme. Rejecting the fact that Noah's a streetwear brand when the majority of your customers come from there. Because I always thought like Noah's like, it's sort of like cut and sew. When you have a brand, when you have a streetwear brand, I remember back in the day, the evolution was that getting to a level where you did cut and sew, and cut and sew was basically another term for not using blanks, essentially. That meant actually constructing your own patterns, putting together your own jackets from scratch, and not just using a base kind of template or a blank or whatever and editing it or whatever it may be. And that was maybe the closest you'd get to doing fashion in that regard, like making something from scratch. But the whole idea around it was taking a staple, taking an everyday item, hence the streetwear kind of moniker, and kind of updating it and kind of putting your own twist on it. And there are more people, I think, in the world who are into streetwear than are into fashion, personally. I don't know if that's, that applies across the board. Maybe it's just only specific to men. But I think there are probably more men in the world who are probably way more into streetwear than they are into fashion anyway. So this idea that streetwear is somehow lower or less than fashion is weird. And I don't find it derogatory or, demeaning for Noah to be referred to as a streetwear brand, personally. I think that accurately describes what they do and what they're about. But let's hear Brendan Babijan explain why.
I heard you say it a few times already, but like, I would never call it a street, not in a million years.
Really? That's interesting.
Well, you got to remember, I didn't call streetwear when they started calling it streetwear.
Right, but nothing
I ever touched ever was streetwear to me.
Okay.
Come on, bro. You work for Supreme. So what was it then? Was it a skateboarding company? Like, Supreme is not even like, yes, they sell decks. Yes, they sell wheels and hardware. So technically there's skateboarding, but no one's going to, like, people that actually skate, they're not going to Supreme to buy stuff, Like, you might just for the look, but for the most part, the people that are buying Supreme are people that just want to wear streetwear. And that's what streetwear encompasses, skateboarding, and everything else included underneath that. Graffiti, hip hop, art, whatever else it may be underneath that. So I just find it odd because he was one of the main people responsible for making Supreme what it is. And that is the #1 streetwear brand, maybe of all time, especially when you consider longevity. And he was essentially able to kind of, jump from that to his own brand. And I think at the time, if I'm not mistaken, or the law of Noah was that he was working on it while he was at Supreme. Then he took a break. Then he kind of started it again. And, it's birthed from his time over there. So I don't understand. Let's hear how he tries to explain this.
Sure, but we also have to level set. You came from Supreme, which is like the holy grail of streetwear.
Yeah, but I had a life before that too, right? That was where I grew up. The foundation was preppy, and then we.
Oh, come on, bro. Yes, you had a life before that, but nobody knew you before you were at Supreme. Respectfully, I love Brendan Babijan. He's a cool dude. I met him once when I went to New York working for a previous company, and he was nice. I met him briefly, very, very briefly. He was very, very nice. And everybody in the store was also nice, which is really not the it's not the thing in most streetwear stores. People are usually a bit, standoffish, but they're all really cool. Remember one tall dude with really curly hair who was really, really nice. But come on, brother. No one knew about you before you did Noah. No, before you did fucking Supreme. Supreme essentially allowed people to put a light on you when it came to Noah. And essentially, this is still streetwear. Preppy, I think preppy wear, this sort of thing from take Ivy with your sweatshirts, your jeans, your shorts, your fucking Sperry shoes, whatever, boat shoes. That's more akin to streetwear than it is to fashion, in my personal opinion. Especially when you include Coach jackets, barber jackets, trench coat. That stuff is way more tied to streetwear than it is to fashion, personally.
We layered in our interest in music and punk rock and hip hop on top of that.
Right.
That's streetwear. What are you talking about? That's how some people found out. Supreme might be the vessel. A lot of streetwear brands, Mighty Healthy, the Hundreds back in the day, Diamond Cost Supply, Crooks and Castles, all of these brands back in the day were essentially the gateway to some of those things. Musical influences, artistic influences, cultural influences. That's all part of it. That's how you got to know some of these things, some of these artists collaborating, whatever else it may be. Like some kids probably got their introduction to art in general, contemporary art, through collaborations that Supreme have done with their decks. So for him to reject this label is just mind-boggling. Like, because he's like, it's not even a degrading, demeaning thing. Like, it's just, you make streetwear, like really good streetwear, elevate street. Like, if he's not streetwear, then what's Ami Leon Dore? Do they also not think they're streetwear, or do they think they're like what, runway? Is that what you think you're like fashion? You think you're ready to wear? Like, huh? Gore-Tex jackets, Coach jackets, jeans, hoodies. I get Demna's doing his stuff at Balenciaga, but mostly like, come on, bro, come on.
But when you launched Noah in 2015,
It wasn't a streetwear brand.
But I'm telling you, when you came out on the scene, whatever, with Noah in 2015, all of the press around it, all the language around it was like Supreme veteran Brandon Bemzine.
That's not my
Supreme,
fault.
But I mean,
that's the media's fault. I didn't ask.
But that's how they packaged it. It was like his alma mater is Supreme.
But does that make it right?
But it's accurate.
No, it's not.
What do you mean? You spent 14.
Hold on, I want to check this out myself. Noah NY 2015. What does that collection actually look like? Have we got it here? Yeah, there we go. This is Noah NY's essentially their first collection. Yeah, 2015 lookbook. Big up by the level, because this is really angering me. It shouldn't, because it's none of my business and it's his brand, and however he wants to be labeled or defined as is his decision, and he's every right to fight for the right to be a fashion designer and not be a whatever. But this is angering me. Where is it? I can't see it there. Where is it? Where is it? Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, cool. Let's go here. Maybe it's going to be here. Okay, it's on the actual site. Okay, it's not. Okay, there it is. Oh, come on, bro. 2015. You flannels, chinos, track jackets, pullover hoodies. Come on, brother, man. Nah, Brendan Babson, I like you, but you're chatting shit, bro. You're chatting absolute shit. The classic that classic hoodie with the fucking cross and the Noah going on the arch. Like heavy flannels, quilted jackets, knitwear. Like, come on, bro. Come on. This isn't streetwear to you. Brendan Babson thinks, what does he think this is then? This is what? Like, I wonder what does he think this is? This is menswear and not streetwear. It's elevated streetwear. It's really well done streetwear, but it's streetwear nonetheless. What's wrong with calling it streetwear? You've even got elevated pieces. Look, already an introduction to some tailoring with that blazer and the polo and the trousers. And look, he's wearing fucking Flight. Are they Jordan 4s? Yeah, Jordan 4s. A pair of Jordan 4s the model's wearing. By the way, I like how he did that, by the way, on the Jordan 4s. He let the fucking wings fly. Like, this is, like, what is wrong with calling this? Like, honestly, what could be wrong with calling this particular collection not streetwear? Like, what's he gonna, I want to know what he's gonna say. How's he going to explain it? Because this is fucking incredible.
15 years at this company.
They were saying where I was from, sure, but saying Noah was a streetwear brand was absurd.
I always thought that there was.
I understand saying I don't like being labeled as streetwear because I do more than that, but saying the labeling is absurd is insane, considering what they put out. Considering what they put out, quintessential streetwear pieces. Hoodies, t-shirts, Coach jackets, I don't know, jeans, trainers even, right? Did they do trainers? I'm not sure. I'll take back the trainers thing. Like the hats, snapback hats, the beanies. Like, come on, man. Their most famous thing is a pullover hoodie. That one we just saw with the fucking crib. That's the most famous thing that they have. The most famous item. And it's not streetwear. Come on, man.
Making cashmere shirts and Shetland sweaters.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was making. Yeah, like nautical stuff and beach stuff.
But you made hoodies. You also made t-shirts. You also made chinos. You also made jeans.
And like, does that sound like streetwear to you? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, man. This is really upsetting me, man. This is really upsetting me. This is really upsetting me. This type of attitude, wanting not to be classed as streetwear, looking down on streetwear, acting as if you're better than streetwear. If you're so better than streetwear, go do a fucking collection then. Go put your fucking clothes down a runway. Go on, I dare you. Go and fucking book a show during Paris Fashion Week and try and compete with those motherfuckers. Go, I dare you. But you don't, because it's easier to kind of drop collections when you drop them. Drop them in a fucking normal, you know, non-fucking fashion calendar type of thing. Do your collections the way you do them. Like, come on, has he done a single collection where there's not a hoodie in it? And you're calling yourself street? You're saying you're not streetwear. Has there been a single Noah collection where he's not produced a hoodie? Exactly.
Maybe today, possibly, but like, so I had no control over what people said. I still don't. Now they just put me in the preppy category. They're like, oh, everybody, Ame Leandore, Noah, Rowing Blazers, they're all preppy. And it's like, well, yeah, a little bit, but we're also not entirely that either.
Being okay with being called preppy, but not being okay with being called streetwear is insane to me. Maybe because he doesn't like, maybe part of it is to give him a little bit of credit. Maybe part of it is because he doesn't like the label streetwear because it comes with the sneaker connotation. Because sneakerheads, you know, I can maybe call myself as one. We're a corny bunch, right? No one, I don't think, is a proud sneakerhead. It's a bit of a corny term. And the people are incredibly unstylistic and just a bit shitty looking. So I get it. But being happy to be called preppy or classified as preppy but not streetwear is insane. Because preppy is worse.
Media doesn't know what to do. They need to package things. They need to sell you information and like put it into the world. Nuance.
Okay, this is new to me.
Nuance and complexity is not part of our culture anymore. Everything has to be easy.
He's got a point, but he's also making it way more complicated than it needs to be. Noah is a streetwear brand. I'm sorry. You can say what you want to say about how you want it to be classified, but based on what you put out, based on what the customers do with it, how they interact with it, how they wear it, based on the offerings that's available, primarily, Noah is a streetwear brand. Elevated streetwear, maybe to a certain extent. I think they've done a good job, and I think he's done a good job, actually, from taking the customers that he maybe had when he was at Supreme, guiding them through to kind of holding their hand through the process of taking them through with Noah. And I think slowly but surely, they have started to kind of sophisticate their lineup. It's not always streetwearish. A lot of stuff, there's a lot of tailoring involved now. There's a lot of like shirting, like button-ups. I see a lot more like trousers, like actual trousers and pants and not just chinos. So they're clearly elevating and pushing things a bit, which is good because you get to like, you know, take your customer on that journey from wearing a fucking hoodie all the way to wearing a whole suit or a whole outfit by you know, what you call it, Noah. But I don't know, man, this attitude that he has towards streetwear is pretty sad. But maybe it also explains why he left Supreme, because he probably didn't connect with the brand anymore. They are more streetwear, and he probably thought the stuff that he was doing wasn't streetwear, and it was kind of getting lost amongst all of that shit. So it might explain his exit.
Easy and quantifiable and simple to understand. When I did my thing, because I was at Supreme, they were like, well, I guess it's streetwear. Once we were labeled that, it's never gone away. You called Noah streetwear 25 minutes ago. And I don't even push back anymore. I'm like, whatever. It doesn't even matter what people call things anymore.
Oh, really? You acting like it matters, brother. You're acting like it matters. I'm not going to lie.
But it never really was.
Yeah, big up Omadi, big up the cutting room floor. An amazing clip. Really heartbreaking for me as a fan of Noah, obviously as a fan of streetwear, somebody that, you know, essentially got my start in terms of understanding fashion through streetwear, which is a weird way to kind of come into it, but I mostly understood fashion via the streetwear lens. That's how I got involved in clothing. That's how I got involved in, that's how I even developed my taste when it comes to clothing and style and everything else in between. So it's really sad to see somebody who's been such a prominent figure, such an inspirational figure, come out and essentially poo-poo and dismiss streetwear and act as if like he's better than it, or act as if it's not a worthwhile thing to be known as, and to kind of distance himself from it in a way that kind of seems a little bit disrespectful. A little bit. Doesn't really matter because who cares? But come on, brother, you know, and why? Like, what's the point? Like, if Noah isn't streetwear, what's Saturdays? Would Saturdays say they're not streetwear either? Will Saturdays say they're like, what, surfwear? When half the clothing they sell, or majority of the clothing they sell, you can't wear if you weren't surfing anyway. Like, I don't understand this idea that streetwear is a bad thing. Such a strange thing. I guess maybe because you want it, maybe if you want to have your clothes sold in a department store, maybe that's part of it. I don't really know. I don't get it. You determine the pricing anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it is, like, I just don't get it. And I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the pricing. Maybe you want to see your clothes on a rail somewhere next to other brands that you kind of aspire to be like. You don't want to see it on a rail with like $40 t-shirts. You want to see it on a rail with like $100 t-shirts and plus, maybe. But heartbreaking stuff regardless. Check out the cutting room floor for the whole interview. I've just seen some of the clips and it already angered me, so I'm not going to do any more. But I recommend that you do check out the cutting room floor. Always do great interviews. Always do great interviews.